This is my annotation of I-2 by Langston Hughes. You should have already at this point viewed the lesson pre-information about his background and his connection to the Harlem Renaissance. So this is just the annotation part, looking at the poem. I'm going to read it through once, and then we're going to look at it. I too sing, America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh, and I eat well, and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen, then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am American. So I'll go ahead and say, first of all, that this poem has so much to it that if you want to look for more information, I encourage you to do so. I'm basically just going to be giving you some of the surface level analysis, okay? But we could talk about this poem literally for an entire class period if we were face to face. All right, so here we go. So we're going to start with the first line, all right? Just the first stanza. We're going to start with this blue, all right? The first thing you should know, I too sing America. I mentioned earlier, but this is a direct response to Walt Whitman's poem, I Hear America Singing, okay? So, and if you look up that entire poem, you can see what it contains, but he was saying that all of America is coming together, and he mentioned farmers, industrial workers, different people of all class, but he never once mentioned that any black men or women were involved in this singing, okay? Whitman's poem idealized America and neglected to mention some conflicts. And so Langston Hughes wrote this poem as a reference to him. So this is actually an allusion. Okay, we'll write it here. Allusion to, oops, that's not right. I Hear America Singing. Probably one of the more powerful allusions you'll ever see, right? Because Langston Hughes is like, Walt, this is what's really going on. By him saying I too, okay, he's saying he rejects the idea that his race, that they should be excluded from Walt Whitman's song, okay? So he is saying America should include all, right? So he's starting off with this idea of unity, especially pertaining to the black community, saying that they have contributed just as much to America. All right, so he's saying, I too sing America. This is his simple way of feeling included, because Walt Whitman was talking about singing, okay? And so we're just talking about singing right now, but we'll come back to other things a little later on. All right? So we'll go to the next stanza. He says, I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. So right here, we see the word I again. Let's go ahead and talk about that really quickly. So he's not actually talking about himself as Langston Hughes. All right, think before I say it. What bigger group is he referring to? He is speaking about the black community as a whole. Right? Because again, they were left out of this poem that was supposed to be all about unity in America. Right? So he's saying black people sing. They should be included. All right? And actually, this line here, I am the darker brother, he's directly saying that they're included. They're related, right? So he brings this idea of like the fact that America is a family unit. All right? And he's identifying himself also by saying he's the darker brother. All right, so we know immediately that he's identifying himself as a black man by saying darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. This is a pretty direct reference to a lot of the segregation practices that were going on during Langston Hughes' time. So he wrote this pre-civil rights movement. All right, so So he's saying when company comes, that's his way of saying, like, honestly, that white people are hypocrites. Okay, it's convenient, right? They'll call him a brother when it's convenient, but when company comes, they're sent away. Right? Terrible practice. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. These 3 lines are saying, he's still hungry, right? Just like everyone else. He's keeping his sense of humor, all right? And that he is persevering. I can't spell P-E-R-S-E-R-V-R-E. And he is thriving, okay? So he's talking about the Black community as a whole. Again, especially think about the time of the Harlem Renaissance. There was an explosion of art and literature and theater, and they were thriving despite being separated, okay, from whites during this time. So that's what he's saying. He's like, look, I'm behind this kitchen door, but I'm still eating well. I'm still growing strong, right? I'm laughing. He's laughing because, right, later on, he's going to know that he was right, okay? And so that's why he's just like, sitting in the fact that he knows he's right, and basically that, change is coming. Your lesson is going to be learned. Okay, and then we'll change colors here. Tomorrow, this signifies our shift here. Tomorrow, okay, he's not really talking about tomorrow, the day, okay? In the future is what he's saying. Right, sometime in the future. What type of tone does this give off, talking about the future? Optimism, okay? Because he's saying not literally tomorrow. He's saying in the future, okay? And again, he's saying he is saying the Black community, anybody, really any race that's been excluded at this time, but he's specifically talking about Black people. And he's saying, I'll be at the table. Okay, he does mean, in terms of the poem, literally, he'll be allowed to sit with everybody, but he's also saying figuratively, right? They will be equal. And not told to leave, not hidden away when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen, then. He is saying, all right, optimistically, that segregation will be broken. All right, and as a leader during the Harlem Renaissance, he really was telling the future, right, to some degree, right, when the civil rights movement took off right after this time. Langston Hughes was sitting in his home being like, I told you so. But obviously, if he was looking at our time now, he would definitely say we still have work to do. But he was right in that segregation would be broken. I guarantee you the people living during this time, the white people living during this time, thought that it would be like this forever. Okay. But Langston Hughes, again, was optimistic and hopeful that he knew that the time would come when nobody would tell him, all right, meaning his race, to leave. All right. He put eat in the kitchen in quotes because he was trying to emphasize that he was being told what to do. So being told. All right, but really, it's symbolizing a bigger issue. Sorry, all my writing is going up. Okay? Because he's not just talking about being told to eat in the kitchen. He's talking about every act of segregation, big, small, literal, figurative, all types of, separation that was going on during this time. So this will relate to the allegory we'll mention in a few minutes. Sorry, I'm checking my own notes to make sure I'm doing what I want. Okay, so then he breaks it off because you think he's like, yeah, then nobody will tell me to eat in the kitchen. But then he says besides, all right? So he's like also, okay? They'll see how beautiful I am. Saying I am makes it present, okay? He's saying that White people will see the beauty that has always been present. Oops. How do you spell that? All right, so he's saying, look, this isn't a new thing, okay? Black people are just as beautiful as white people. And eventually they being straight up white people who are segregating this group, will see their beauty, right? They will realize it, okay? It's nothing new. So am is an action or like a non-passive word that he's using. And they'll be ashamed, all right? They'll be able to say, hey, oh my gosh, don't you feel foolish for what you did? Absolutely. I like that he used the word ashamed over other words, because ashamed is really like your head is hanging, you don't want to show your face, all kinds of really intense, really being disappointed in yourself, right? All right, then we get to our final line here. And this is really cool how he does this. You've probably heard of the word a refrain, right? And that's what this is. Okay, it's a refrain from the first line. It's literally like rephrasing, right? Because we began by saying, I too sing America. Now he says, I too am America. All right, so it's really cool how he changes it. He replaces the word sing with am, okay? And this is supposed to explain that they're not just there singing, okay? They exist. They are living. They are American, okay? They're not just taking part in the figurative chorus that he's talking about, okay? They exist and they live and they matter. Again, this was all written before the civil rights movement, and so I think it's so awesome that he was right and people were after this time period beginning to feel ashamed and beginning to see how their existence matters. So again, remember our I is referring to the Black community, not just him. So he's saying, look, America is going to see that they are a huge part of everything that America has been built on. That's not how you spell America, right? So now we're getting to a little bit of the allegory. I'll write this over here. I try not to use the color orange because I really don't like Florida, but here we go. Okay. Allegory. If you remind yourself, what does that mean? A literal meaning and a figurative meaning. We're going to talk about both. Okay, literally, he's talking about a segregated group. And he's kind of sort of talking about a chorus, right? Because he's talking about America singing. Okay, it's the idea that Americans all come together for one common goal. Okay, so that's our figurative meaning. So unity for one goal. Okay, so the goal in the poem is to create a beautiful song, but that's the literal, that's the metaphor he's using to explain how America as a country has to come together in order to work towards a common goal. And I think that to look at this poem now in 2021, this still resonates, right? Because we still have so much work to do to work towards the idea that every American exists and matters and is a part of the chorus, working towards the big song, right? They're a part of the country working towards what it is and its beauty. And so I think it's a great poem that still resonates today. For your project coming up, I know that I've been mentioning it a lot online, but you're going to be choosing a song to compare one of these poems to. So I definitely think there are a lot of songs out there written by artists attacking some social issues, whether it's sexism, classism, racism, and all of those are going to fall under the same theme of this, that unity is necessary in order to achieve a goal, all right, and that nobody should be left out. when we're talking about working towards this goal. So there is my annotation for I2 by Langston Hughes.